on this one, I'm going, I've also given you instructions on this one on a PDF. So what you do, you have graffiti wall PDF here. Double click it, and on the wall layer, select all the elements that the graffiti will not appear. So we want the graffiti only on the wall. You can see here, I've got a poster, and I don't want the graffiti to be on that poster. And I've got a bit of view, navigate. Not working. Okay. Um, I I want it to, you can see I don't want it on the floor, the sidewalk. I don't want it on the building here. Um, you see on the chair rather. I've masked that chair out. I don't want it on this window area. I've masked that out. I've got a poster here I don't want it masked out, and I've got a train station sign here. I don't want it on that. Everywhere else, I want it to appear on. And so I select all of that area, all of these areas I don't want it, and then I'm going to invert the selection, Command Shift I, Control Shift I, just like I inverted the selection on the boy just a minute ago. Then I'm going to save the selection. I'm going to go to File, or I'll go to Menu, Select, Save Selection, and then I'll name the selection appropriately, like Graffiti Wall, in the Channels panel, and then I'm ready for the next step. So then I'll place the graffiti wall above that. And so I'm not going to go through, you can see all the selections here. I'm just going to select a couple of things just for the demo sake. And then, you would just add to that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to start with the blend graffiti on me. I want to make this a little bigger. I'll hit Command 0 full screen. I don't want this poster to get graffiti on it, because maybe they graffitied the wall before the poster was put on the wall. So I could just get the rectangular marquee, and I can select that. It's rectangular, and there, that's pretty good. If I look at it and go, I selected a little too far out above it, I can just hit Command D, Control D on a PC to make it smaller. I'll try again. There, I'm a little tighter that time. It's a better selection. And there we go. That's one way to select it. Command D, deselect. I could also select it with the polygon lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool. And you see that one looks a little different here. And how it works, I can click, and then you see it wants to click again. I could hold Shift if I want to straight up click, which I do in this instance. I'll come over here, I'll hold Shift again. If it's not completely straight, I won't hold Shift. I'll come down, I'll click again, and then you've got to end on your starting spot. When you get to your starting spot, it will, you'll get a little circle, and you got marching ants there. So I've got that. And if I want to add to that, I'm going to do this, maybe this bench too, at least part of it. And so what happens here if I click and click, okay, I'm ready to make a new selection, but look what happened to my first selection. I'm gonna hit escape. I will lose that. So what I would want to do is I would want to hold the Shift key again. That'll give me a plus, and that will let me add to that selection. That's really key. And so then I can use the polygonal lasso tool, and I gotta I've got to hide some stuff here. I'm gonna hit escape again. I'll hold Shift. I'll click. And I don't need to hold Shift once I start this selection anymore. Then I'll click, and I could go all the way around it, but I want graffiti in between. So I'll just go to the edge of that and hit click. Now I'll hold shift again and I'll select this next slat, click, and then I can let go of shift, click, come over here, click, click, go back to the starting point. So I got that slat selected. Hold shift again. I'm going to click here. I'll let go of shift, click, 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 and in, click. And then I've got to get the leg. So the slats are all selected, and you can see the sign selected, the poster selected. Again, I'll hold shift. I can click up in this selection area. It's not going to hurt at all. I'll click, and then I can let go of shift. I can go into this selection area, click, 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 and finish. There, I've got that area selected. I'll do the same thing here. I have to hold shift or else I'll deselect everything. Click, 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 click. So that's the polygonal lasso tool. It will work really well for this piece. If you try to do an auto select tool, it's not going to work very well on this one because the contrast isn't very good between the wall and that. Last thing, I need to get this bottom part. And so I'm going to hold shift again, click, 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 and there. That one's selected. Again, shift, click. I don't need to hold shift anymore unless I want a straight line, straight up and down line, click, or a straight horizontal line, as I did in that instance. And so you can do like I'm doing and select everything, but probably this is not how you want to do all of this stuff. So I'm going to finish getting this rest of this selected. So I'll hit select, click, 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 shift click, shift click, 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 click. That's not quite straight up, so I won't hold shift click and then finish it off. Okay, so you see I have that selected and this selected here. And so the instructions say, select everything you don't want. So I have marching ants on everything. And so you can do that, but my fear is, when you start selecting this one, maybe you deselect some of those. And so I'm saying invert the selection. And so you can do that. If I do this though, if I go to my layers panel here, you'll see that I've got my layers collapsed. So I'll call this, I'll call this station scene. And you'll see if I make a mask here, oh, it's getting rid of everything but that. And really what I want is, that's not what I want. So I actually want the inverse of that. So I'm going to undo that mask and I'm going to do an inverted selection. So I'll go to select, inverse. So now I have everything selected but those. Now when I make a mask, you see those disappeared. But here's the thing, I don't really want to mask those things. And so I'm just going to leave that for now and say, all right, you guys stay there. And I'm going to jump ahead in my steps here. And so rather than the safe selection thing, I'm saying place the graffiti. So I'm jumping ahead to step 4. So you can see all of those are showing through. So I'm going to go to graffiti and I'm going to name this layer graffiti. And I'm going to pull that over to mask and blend, and I'm going to hold shift while I drop it, it'll place it exactly in the center and place it where you desire it. And it's kind of hard to see. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna create a layer mask on it. And I'm going to change it to a blending mode. That's all the steps, but you can change the order a little bit. And I'm going to do that right now. On my graffiti, I'm going to go to multiply blending mode. And that way I can see my wall a little bit. It's a little hard to see. I can also lower the opacity if I need to. So now I could see a little bit easier where I'll put my layers there, where things are. So I could hit V for the graffiti, and I could move that around wherever I want. I don't want it on the sidewalk down there, so I'll move it up a little bit, and to the left a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with that placement. So what I'm going to do now, this mask I made here, I'm just going to drag that mask up and drop it on the graffiti, and look what happened. And so two things happen. It's no longer on the station scene. It's now on this layer. So you see here on my graffiti layer where it's black, that sign and that bench are showing through. Now I can say, oh, okay. Now I want to select this stuff, but it's hard to see that stuff with the graffiti covering it up. So I'll just turn the layer off here, and I'll come back to the station scene. I'll again get the polygonal lasso tool, and you could try any selection tool. You could try the quick selection or the magic wand, but the polygonal lasso tool works great for square things like this. And so I'll get that letter L as the quick key for all the lassos. And this time I don't need to hold shift anymore because it's a new selection, and I'm going to add to my existing selection. Click, 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 finish that off. And then I'm not going to really worry about the brackets up here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to this station here. And on this layer mask, in that area where I just made a selection, I'm going to fill it with black. And again, Option or Alt and Delete is my fill color. And Command or Control Delete is the background color. Foreground color, background. I want to fill, in this case, black is my foreground color. On the mask, I'll fill it with that black. And what does that do? It allows that sign to pop through. Well, that was cool. And then I would do the same thing on this sign here. And I can see this sign fine. I don't need to turn that off. So I'll just, again, with the polygonal lasso tool, click, and I'll click here. I'll come down. Whoops, I got to hit escape. I went a little bit out of control. I'll just use the rectangular marquee tool for this one. It'll work quicker and better. So I'm going to do that, select that. I'll come back to this layer. I'll fill it with black. There, that's showing through. You can see on my layer mask what happened. And then last thing I need to do, I need to select this the station, the window thing here. And so I could do that in sections. It will work fine. I'll do just this post here, or maybe I do the whole, I'll just do that post for now. And I'll fill it with black. And you see that showing through. I could do this post next, or I could do a whole bigger selection. I could say, okay, well, now I'm going to get the polygonal lasso tool. I'll hold shift and I'll select this part here. So however you select it, and whatever small increments, and I fill that with black on the mask, and it's just popping that stuff through. And so I would select this whole thing. I'm going to go this time, I'm going to go to get on my station scene layer here. I'm going to get the letter W and get the quick selection tool. I'll make a smaller brush, and I'm selecting that area. That got me a pretty good selection. And I can do the same thing here. I'm just going to select this and that gave me a pretty good selection here. I'm missing part of the block over there. I'm missing the bottom part here. I can hold shift and click more. I didn't get the selection area down there. I'll click that. I want to get that whole window area. And that gave me a pretty good selection. I'm going to hold Option or Alt click so you can see what I'm doing here. So I've got all of that area selected there. And again, I'll fill with black, Option or Alt delete, fill with black. And it looks like I'm probably going to have a problem there. Click on that. It looks fine. And so I've got that going on there. So back to my instructions. Well, first of all, I'll hit Command 0 or fit on screen. So you can see the graffiti. Well, the graffiti, I lowered the opacity. I'm going to go back up to 100% opacity on the graffiti. There you go. So now with that on multiply mode, you can see the graffiti in full saturation, and you can see the texture of the brick wall. But the things that wouldn't have been graffitied on, like the bench and the stuff they would have added afterwards, aren't graffitied. So that's how we do that. And then back to the instructions. So all of that, there's more than one way to do it. I'm saying start with all the selection stuff, but I showed you how you could incrementally do that. And so now I got everything masked, and I would look like this right now if I was on normal blending mode. But then next step is to go to multiply. So right now we're to step 7 on the example I'm showing. Then step 8, I'm putting a person in here. Who's this friendly old guy? It's Mr. Dennis. And so what I'm saying is add a cashier to the window, and I'm doing that. There's more than one way you can do that. And you're just going to give me a JPEG. I won't know which way you do it, but I'm saying mask it. And so what I'm doing on this one is I'm going to this station scene, and I'm doing a blending. I made a layer mask just by clicking on the mask there. And I'm going to open this window a little bit. I'll zoom up and show you. And I'll do that by, let's say, I think I want the window to be rolled up to here. And I'm just making a selection, and I'll fill this mask with black again. It's going to poke a hole in it. And I need to put black behind it. That's one way I could do it. Or so I'm going to undo that. And I'm just going to, instead of doing that mask there, I could just make a layer above and fill it with black. I'll do it that way. And so there's black as well. And I could post on top of that. But either way will work. The way I'm instructing you to do it on the instruction PDF is to make a mask there, and then to make a layer underneath it filled with black. It's on right there. So I've got a black layer. I'll just call this window. And then I would put a person running the window there. Could be whatever you want. Could be a robot, could be Winnie the Pooh, could be you, could be me. I did me on my instructions. So I put somebody in there. The next step, we had our runner from last week, and we had our teddy bear. I put them in there. You can, I'm saying add a teddy bear or person or item of your choice to the bench. I get all sorts of fun things that students do. Have fun with it. But the idea is we're making a composite image, and we're learning how to do blending modes. And so, and again, you add the runner. We already have these two. They're easy to do, or add something else. So you're adding 1, 2, 3 minimum images. You can add more if you want, but that's what we're doing. We end up with something like this. But what's happening is the graffiti's only on the wall, not on the window, not on the posters, not on the bench, not on the ground or the sidewalk. And so that's that one. And that's